Hello everyone. I'm really happy to see all of you here, like professionals. And today I want to talk about my experience being involved in a very big interview or like hiring process where we interviewed like more than already 200 engineers in like half a year, I think, range, but more than 100 engineers in like 3-4 months. So yeah, who is this guy standing in front of you and speaking today? It's Sergey Kibush. I'm a software engineer. Fancy titles because it's 21st century and 2018. Why not? Basically, I do a lot of stuff, not only just raw software development, but also different things that somehow connects with development, and not only with development. So how to connect with me? The Twitter handle is there, email, website. So slides will be published on Twitter, and I think video somewhere will be published too. Okay, so about motivation and the goal of this talk. So during the interview process, at some point, I've seen a lot of things, like from other side. I usually am interviewed, but now I'm the person who needs to interview. And basically, this is a position where you need to do assessment about the different people. And at some point, I started to think what good interview process really might look like. Like we started to analyze some problems and started somehow to fix them. And about the goal of this talk, so if in the end you will have in your head a question like, do we have a good interview process? And on next day you will come at work and try to analyze it and maybe apply some changes to it, then I think my job is done here. Okay, so a little bit disclaimer. This is a little bit rage talk, so I might at some points be too emotional, and maybe I'll also swear, but I'm sorry. But I think everything will be okay. Okay, so let's start with story time. Once upon a time, a team of engineers was asked a question like, who want to help with interviews? And only one hand raised up. You know who's? Yeah, right here. Okay, and basically this was the beginning of the end. At some point it was like this. So a little bit of facts. So more than 200 interviews in total were done in this like short period of time. Only more than 110 interviews were done only by this person here, who is still alive. On average, what this means that we have like 12 interviews a week. It's sometimes up to 4 or 5 interviews in some days. We interviewed boys and girls, or who identify themselves as these, from around the world, and all interviews were like online. Why this crazy stuff happened? So firstly, like new big shiny project was on the horizon, and the company decided that workforce is needed, because like something big, something huge, a lot of people is needed, and because it was so big, company also decided that let's open an office in new location, and they basically open it. Okay. And also, company committed to provide like 100 engineers before the end of this year. So a little bit recap on this point. Like, success of your project not about amount of people, but about like quality of the work done. So don't commit just on people. Better commit on the quality. Okay, this was very short. Now the interesting part about the interview process itself. So how it looked like in the beginning. So in the beginning it was that simple, like only a few steps. The first one, like we have agencies that provide us with some engineers, some candidates. Then what we do an interview like straight away. And basically after that, we already have some like offer part where basically candidate and people inside our company, some higher level guys, they decide do they need this candidate or not. What happened there? Basically, simple, basic stuff. We just check the person knows something, general questions on understanding on some things. Usually our interview is taking like 1 hour long, up to 1 hour, usually maybe also faster. So very simple, super fast, super efficient. No, recap. So such scheme will work maybe if agencies really know what people you need. So, but it's impossible. Okay, they have different views from your views, and if you are not able to explain them good enough, who you're searching for, you will receive people that you don't want to interview. And another problem that was that interview process is very short, and people do not expect to get offer straight from the like first interview. They're like, what? And they're thinking that this is like a scam or something. And also because interviews are relatively simple, so only like we are just talking about technical stuff in general, it is difficult to check that it is not a cheater in front of you. And what I mean by cheater, I will explain a little bit later. And yeah, at some point I started to burn out because interviews are short and there are many, so we are like going very high here. So we acknowledge some problems. So we are moving into the middle part. So here what we have, nothing changed currently. So we have the same process as in the middle part. What we did, we added additional like team members, started to participate in the interview from time to time, because as you remember, this was this thing happening. And the major change that happened, we added classification of the candidates. So what is this classification part? So all our candidates were classified in the following classes or categories. So juniors, middle developers, and seniors. We use these emojis in our Slack, so now you can officially use them too. So how we did this classification? Yeah, this basically all classifications that you will do inside your companies, it's based only on your requirements inside. So how we did this? We have two main characteristics that I will show today. The first one is overall technical impression. So what is the overall technical impression? The questions that we answer is what this person represents as a specialist, how broad is their knowledge, what they use, how they work, so everything that relates somehow to their job. And for example, for us, basically junior are basically, they're fluent in terminology, they are understanding what's going on around in the IT world. For middle developers, we expect that they have like depth of knowledge. So we want to see, for example, if I will ask some technical question about specific technology in what he possesses that he is an expert in, I expect like a very good long answer about depth answer about this technology. And also seniors. So here we expect that this is a person with like T-shaped knowledge, so this person knows a lot of things, not about just some direct technology. Also has architectural intuition, so he not only knows how to solve some tasks, but he also knows how to build software from the ground up. And also can teach somebody. Yeah, and the second one is self-sufficiency. So what we try to check is basically what they can do on their own. So we know that for juniors require team for teammates, and we trying to understand that during the interview. The middles, they are usually independent. That's why they're like peppers in the emojis. Yeah, and seniors, they are independent, and then and they can guide teams, so they know how to explain things. So this is how we classify these basic two things. So a little bit recap on this phase. So classify your candidates, because it will definitely be a benefit for you. Then for the interview, we also to be able to classify during the interview this person, create some framework with questions. And for example, if person answer as you expect or good enough that you accept some answers, you will like assign this person to some category. Also, when you will have these questions and you will know more what you expect from your candidate, you can create like candidate profiles, or if we have here people from marketing, you might know about terms like avatars. So you can send these things to the agency. So basically what this candidate or profile, it's not just a description of the technologies that you are searching for in people, but more detailed description about the person. For example, in the marketing, avatars are used to show what clients you expect for your business. For example, it's man or woman in age of 22, 25, something very, very deep and very descriptive. Something same can be applied also here. But yeah, we're still getting a lot of candidates that do not fit our expectations. But we fixed our previous second problem. Okay, so we are currently moving to the middle part 2. We at this point we have all things like from the middle. We have agencies, we have our interviews, offer. What we added here, we added internal CV screening, and basically how this helped us. We have faster feedback loop with the agencies, and that thing also helped us to reduce number of not fit for us candidates. And additionally to this thing, in the interviews we added code review questions and open-ended questions. So what are they, and what we tried to solve with them? Code review. So do you remember I've talked that it's sometimes very difficult to figure out cheaters? Yeah. So what kind of cheaters? They talk nice, seems like they know a lot of things, they're good in theory, but in practice, when you then try to do something, they don't. So for this case, we have these code review questions. And usually what we give, this is some very short piece of code, 5 or 8 lines, something very basic, really should be very small, so people will feel themselves comfortable looking at this code. Now, don't give them some huge functions from your real code base to review because you're lazy, but yeah, something small. So consider following example, 5 lines of code, something like that. And usually what question we ask on this one is basically, what problems do you see here? And from this point, you're laying back for a little bit and listen. Of course, because before giving something like that, you should also understand that are there really problems or not? Yeah. Or on opposite, everything is correct here. Okay. The second one is open-ended questions, and these are basically questions without correct answers. So with these questions, what we try to figure out is how candidate really thinks. What is his way of thinking? So for example, what do you love, hate about, for example, Java? And you listen. What they hate a lot. Or for example, you implemented a feature, how you will make sure that it's working as expected. And again, you listen, how he will do that, how will check that. So again, the main job here is to listen to the candidate, what he's talking, how he's talking. So recap at this point is, so we have less false positives with the candidates because we have a faster feedback loop with the agencies, and we have more candidates that we really want to interview. cheaters are recognized better. But we still have the problem to figure out seniority, because as we mentioned, for us seniority is that about T-shaped knowledge and also architectural intuition for the senior developers. And with this problem, we are approaching current state, like state of the art for us. So we have like same process. Offer state takes a little bit larger time. What we do here, we have a separate branch only for seniors, or the people who we consider as seniors. So we give homework. Then we review it, and if we liked how it's done and everything is fancy, so we also invite candidate to the second interview, and we basically discuss this homework that he did, and everything continues to the offer. So a little bit about homework. So what is it for us? The main thing for us that it should be something simple, like relatively simple, and real. So not some like algorithmic quiz or something from the HackerRank. Yeah, that work. You should something really real. For example, if you work with the web APIs or something, also create them something with web APIs. Of course, as in every task, you also should provide some like mandatory and maybe also additional requirements. So what are mandatory requirements? For example, if you're searching for people and you're searching for specific technologies that you use, for example, mandatory requirement might be we want to use that you will use on Java. Or about the task, for example, like design function to sum two digits, design API for this function, output should be some one digit. We want to save information about the operations execution in some storage. And for example, additional, we also want to package some like technological thing and use it in like a blockchain or cloud functions or etc. So, and with such things, when you have like mandatory requirements and additional requirements, you also check a lot of things. You check, of course, if person reads requirements. This is the obvious one. How they understand them, and also you can understand how complex their solution in the end might be. So because some person might come up with something very simple, some person can add, and create something really complex that nobody needs. Deadline is always set by the candidate, in our case. So why? Because they are people, they also have some stuff to do. Some of them also have families, some other responsibilities. And in this case, when they set deadline by them own, you make them comfortable to feel. Yeah. So I think also one of the things and the important things for the interviewers and the process overall is to make candidate feel comfortable. Yeah. Always discuss homework on the second interview. This is like mandatory because they invested their time, they created a solution. This should be discussed. If they created something very bad and we don't want to talk with this person in personal, then give them feedback too, for example in writing form, but for example in email. But also give it not your general feedback like, oh, our technical team assess your task, but no, thank you. This is not the answer. You add some bullet points. For example, we like this, but we don't like this, and this. And person will understand that he can improve and what he can learn from this thing. Basically, for example, for me in this case, when I don't receive like any feedback, normal feedback on what I did, I feel a little deceived, and this company is blacklisted by me, like straight away. I will not go this maybe second time there. So, and who doing here live coding interviews? Raise your hands. Okay, Everyone is scary, I think. Yeah. Okay, so this is what I think about live coding interviews when I hear about them. In my opinion, I think live coding interviews should be dead at some point. Why? Because really, in the end, they show nothing. Why? Because if you will come up to the developers in their environment and try to look how they work, so how they usually work. They, for example, receive tasks, they go to talk with people, trying to figure out how this task should be implemented. Then they sit down, have their headphones, and start implementing. And they do not talk with anyone. But what you're trying to do with coding interviews, you're trying person live coding and also explaining stuff. And developers usually don't like that thing. They want to implement and then discuss. This is the first thing, and it's a little difficult, and for different people, it might be very stressful also. And also the question for you: what usually engineers do more there? They read or write? Answers.
Read.
I see developers there. Yes, right. We read. That's why we have more code review questions, like open-ended questions, because we discuss more and we write less. So maybe sometimes when you give some code interview task and we are looking, maybe at some point you're not ready to come up with some solution straight away. And also everyone is unique. One person needs, for example, a piece of paper to solve something. Not only PC and computer. Someone is slower, someone is faster, and so it's really not super safe stuff to do. But if you're searching for some hacker in your team, this is very good solution. Sending him to some hackathons, etc. They will be awesome. Yeah, some people also say when I ask questions, why do you have these live coding interviews inside your process? That we try to check if this person can collaborate. It's fake. Come on. Usually, interviewer not collaborate with a candidate. They are not sitting in front with each other and code together. One person's code, other just looking. Okay. That's not collaboration. Okay. Also, sometimes the interviewers don't help you, but you should. Okay, so recap at this phase. I think this is for overall interview process. So we have a list of requirements for yourself and what do you expect from the candidates. So create this profiles or avatars, write down everything what you expect from him. Not only from technical part, but also like a person. Also, with these things, don't send some junk to the agencies, some information we're searching for a backend developers. No information at all. This will not help you and not help them. Also, tell candidates about your hiring process, because with this thing you respect your time and also respect time of the candidates. In our case, homeworks are only for seniors, because we're trying to check architectural stuff. And overall, what we have, the timing is for this, our process is usually less than a week, maybe a little bit longer, because the deadline for the homework is set maybe once a bit longer. But that's good. Okay. What else? Live coding interviews don't work. Yay! Now I wanted also to point out the vision from the candidate point of view and from the interviewer. Let's start from the candidate. I don't know if there are some people here interested, but let's do it really fast. So first of all, some obvious stuff, know the language in which you will speak. So if you're interviewing in English, please know English, and so people will try to understand what you are saying, and we will help you if you're not coming up with something. But we expect from you that you will understand what we are saying, like that. Also check that your hardware, software, or other stuff working before the interview, because sometimes they're like connecting and you're losing 15 to 30 minutes of your time, and then okay, we reschedule. Okay. Also, this is good to refresh some fundamental knowledge. It's always good to refresh your knowledge. And talk. So interviewers don't have ability to read your mind. So talk always continuously. Even if you think that you talk some, I don't know, stupid things, talk. Maybe the stupid things are the correct answer. About the resume. So what I suggest not to include here is some personal information like birthday, marital status, gender, basically GDPR. Hey. Yeah, so because in some companies you can basically go away basically based on these things, and this is not a good way to do in 2018. About the engineers, this is an interesting one, but I found out that it might be a good idea not to include the list of technologies. It's a little bit like shaky thing, but here's such thing. Usually, it doesn't matter in what like candidate implemented something, and in some cases, just describing the list of technologies, candidate can be easily declined inside because, for example, his list consists of some too much legacy technologies that your company are not interested in. But this list, so what this list can do is basically hide the potential of the developer. So instead, what I'm suggesting is tell what you did. For example, if you were involved in some high-load project, tell that you was involved in some high-load project, you optimize, I don't know, server response time, or optimize some function, etc. So yeah, if you have even numbers, add numbers, it will be even better. Also, if you know really what you want and how you can be helpful to this company, it's also good to specify. For example, not only that I'm the software engineer with 12 years of experience and I'm cool for you, but really, for example, I can do stuff, optimize this, I have experience in that and that and that. And in this in mind, this will be more interesting for the interviewers to connect with this candidate and talk with him. Also, make your resumes interesting, not like Europos or simple black and white. Sometimes, you know, when you see a lot of resumes, they're all black and white. You feel a little bit okay. They're good. You of course read them through, but you want to see something interesting. Maybe not colorful, but maybe add some interesting fact about you as a person, not only as a technical specialist, but a person. And yeah, about colors, we're in the 21st century. We usually watch all the interviews or resumes and read them on the phones or tablets or PCs. So we do not have any problem with ink. Yeah, so why not? Why not add some color to it? Okay, and I don't know why, but we don't receive a lot of interviews with references from other people, or we have like call this number and you will have the references. Add them. They really add more value to your resume because we see what other people really thinks about you, not only how you think about yourself. Okay, so recap at this point for the candidate. Be prepared and think about your resume like from the point of interviewers or the recruiters. Okay, interviewer. Hey, hello everybody. So the first thing to do is listen to your candidates. Like, listen, be focused. This is one job, main job that should be done. Like, don't go away in your phone, in Facebook, Instagram, Twitter feeds, etc. Listen. First of all, it's disrespectful to open just some stuff during the interview when people are talking. And also, if you're not listening, you can lose some valuable information. Another thing to do, and not always everyone is doing that, is help your candidates during the interview. If they forgot the name of the technology or they just forgot some word, help them out. For example, you know how this technology is the name of this technology. Insert it. You will make your candidate more comfortable. All candidates are under stress, more or less. They have like different stress levels. For somebody, maybe these interviews are like exams in the university or in school. So just try to help them out and feel more comfortable. Also, yeah, just like make them feel safe and comfortable on your interviews. Create natural conversation. So don't bomb candidates with questions like just try to wait. So okay, we started and you're 1, 2, 3, 4 questions. No, try to speak really. Know what you use, why you use this, it worked for you or not, and then tie in your questions that you really want to be answered. This way, you will create a natural conversation, and these questions will be like they will look better. Also, don't be aggressive. Yeah, I know that somebody, if the interviews are in the morning, and some people start to interview in the morning, they can be a little bit more aggressive and ask questions like, "Do you know the difference between two languages, this and that?" And you're like, "Whoa!" Don't be like, slow down, calm. And also with this being aggressive, also what you can think about, for example, if you are speaking usually too fast, like slow yourself down. Because in this case, everyone will be able to listen to all of your words and understand what you are asking without additional questions like, pardon, can you please repeat some question? Yeah, and this is also one such 50-50 point, but don't ask candidates to introduce themselves. So usually on the interviews, how they are usually started is that, can you please tell a little bit about yourself? Why I need to do that? You already received my resume. You read it, right? Of course not. Nobody reads resumes, right? For some candidates, for example, again, I'm maybe one of these candidates. It might be like a red flag, because really I've sent resume and you're asking me to tell again something about myself to you, and why I need to do that? Because everything is explained already there. So, for example, candidate at this point might assume that you haven't read the resume, and it's already a bad impression about you as a company. But if you really want to know something, I don't know, just in the beginning interview, by the diagonal, read through it, and for example, we read this resume and we found interesting that you use this and that, but maybe you can add something more, or tell us a little bit more about something. And this will be a better question about the introducing yourself. And also this will be less intrusive. Okay, don't use Skype for the interviews. This is like a general technical questions, because they're not, Skype is not good for the interviews in general. Why? Because from the technical point of view, you need to install separate application. If person don't have Skype, it needs to register in this ecosystem, and then only they can use this for the interviews. And if they have different version of Skype, you can come up in some problems. Or they have Skype business and not a simple one, again you have problems. So use something like plug and play, for example, like Google Hangouts. They have pretty good technology for that. Just open your browser and you're connected for the interview. This will be faster, and you don't need additional preparations. I don't know, somebody asked, maybe your candidates, do they use Skype or not? Because I've figured out that most of candidates and interviewers, for some reason, use Skype only for interviews, but not for the real conversations.
Sorry, but what software do you use for application? Do you use Signal Skype and what?
We use this how it's called?
GoToMeeting.
Yeah, we use GoToMeeting, but also yeah, this is for our like religious reasons, and but I know other companies that use, for example, Google Hangouts, and they have a specific version like for business, so where you just create room, you send link, and they open the browser, and that's all. So they don't need any additional like preparations, installation, etc. They just click in browsers that they allow like microphone and this camera, and they're ready to go. Okay. So summary, we're in the end already. So what I've got from this, that basically interviews are very not simple thing to do, and they require a lot of energy from our side as the interviewers. And if you have only like few engineers, they will kill them at some point.